Okay, Twin Flames, we're going to do a Fairy, Angels, and Ancients reading. So, some messages from the fairy realms, or the fairy realm. I'm not sure if there's one or more than one. So, of course, the mini harmonious, just in case. We need a tarot card just for confirmation, just for shits and giggles, whatever. We're going to be using the Resonance Oracle deck. So this is the one that we'll get the message from the ancients from. Okay. Then, of course, well, those are the most ancient, right? The angels of Atlantis, Lemuria. Okay, so let's just get all the decks out here. Get these books out of the way. We don't need no stinking books, but they're fun to read sometimes. They are. But we're just going to make this kind of quick. Just some confirmation on the video that I posted right before this. If you want to watch that, it's about just, the current energies and what we're coming into, and then how we're going to come out of it. And so just a little bit of some synchronicities and gematria and numerology, things that, I compiled all into one kind of tangently. So, okay, let's get started with the reading. We're going to start with the angels, and just out of respect for them, we'll do the fairies next, or I mean last, and we'll do the ancients after we do the angels. That's not in alphabetical order, but this is going to be our main message here for the angels. Let me get this a little bit more. Focus more on the cards here. There we go. The little mama angel with the baby. Mother is the one I'm gonna have to read that in another one, because it's hard with the way the lighting is, because it's overhead lighting, so there's some glare. Mother is the one, basically. That's all we need to know. Mother is the one, the oneness. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to share a synchronicity in that last video. Well, I'll just do that all its own, because it's a very important message, so it was meant to be left out. So it's just by itself. But there's, definitely confirmation of the oneness when I flipped open to this book. It's on page 85. 8 plus 5 is 13, which is the Divine Mother. And it was talking about the oneness, so. And I wanted to read a little bit out of that, so that'll be its own little. It was a gift. For those of you who watched that video, that's what happened to my birthday gift. But I got the book from my dad's friend, so, and I haven't read it yet. But I was organizing and moving some books around, and just wanted to flip open to a page, and so I'll share that in another video all by itself. And it's pretty, just confirmation, of the oneness. So every religion the core, and that's what we're all about. So we're shedding the things that separate us, and we're just aligning with the core values, core desires, core beliefs, core beliefs. Yeah, it's so much more serene when we're aligned with ourselves and others. It's just serenity. Is that Shamael? That came up before, and he can be considered the dark angel. But the thing about dark angels is that they sacrifice some of their light so that you may be enlightened and see the light. So, they know who's in charge. They know God's in charge. And yeah, that's what we need to do. This was on the bottom of the deck when that fell out. So surrender. That's what we need to do, is surrender to God's will. Is that Zafkiel? Yeah. So see how, that looks like a male, okay? Like the divine masculine is really the one that needs to surrender to divine will. The masculine within you. Not the feminine within you, whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. The masculine body, not the feminine body, the masculine body within us. The masculine energy, you can call it a body, a sphere, whatever. That is what needs to surrender, and that it's going to be forced to surrender inwardly and outwardly in the world. Okay, we're surrendering to the Divine Mother. Because the Holy Spirit, the heart, okay, love, that's what leads the way. That's what guides us. So, we have this patriarchal thing that's happening where the masculine energy just got so way out of whack and distorted, out of control. And now it's time to surrender to Mother. And that's where we're going to find serenity. And see this high, like violet kind of color and pink. Very much unconditional love. Very high vibration. And this is more like the lower chakras, okay? Red, orange, yellow. Kind of a lot of orange in there. So sacral, okay? So there's a lot of pain that the Divine Masculine is holding that he needs to surrender and let go of. And that's why the world is so distorted too, with wars. And I'm not blaming men. It's the masculine energy that's within every single human being. And the distortions as well. But we have the divine templating. So we need to surrender to God, because Mother, Father, God knows the programming, okay? And the masculine God lets the feminine God lead the way. And as above, so below. So we're not doing that down here. See how everything is? So much disease and all that, because everything's imbalanced. Because we've been... everything we can do to destroy the divine feminine, the wisdom. All the blaming in the Bible for the feminine, shaming the feminine, because there's so much power through surrendering to this love. This high vibration can be scary, because it's such high energy. How do we do it? How do we maintain it? I mean, it can like literally make your vessel misfire and stop working, and that's what people consider death, but there is really no such thing as death. This is also surrendering your ego. Surrender it to God. If you're fighting it and you're battling it, surrender it to God and say, call on Archangel Zafkiel and say, Archangel Zafkiel, please help me with this inner battle, this struggle I'm having with my ego. I want a healthy one. I don't want it to be leading the way. I want love to lead the way. How do I do that? Please show me how. Please give me a sign, a dream, a message, a card, a whatever. Please have, send an earth angel my way today to give me some kind of physical interaction. However you need it, whatever works best for you, you need to figure that out. But I always ask for a dream, because for me that's, because when I'm awake in the 3D, I'm not as receptive, I guess. So I unless I'm meditating or sleeping, dreaming, I'll just say that that's where I trust my, I just trust things to be more clear, because you're not listening to traffic noise and all. Okay, so you're just completely surrendered. Okay, so the masculine within both twins, we're being asked to surrender, go into meditation, surrender. Whatever it is, just surrender it. It's like surrendering your baggage. You're giving it to God. You're giving it to the angels. You're surrendering. Okay, it's a heavy load. Take that huge, hiker's pack, those huge ones, that professional hikers, they're heavy. And if you've had a long hike and a struggle, you want to break free and feel light again. Because when you're heavy, weighed down with that ego, it's very 3D grinding stuff. When you surrender that, you're closer to God, because you lift up out of the 3D a little bit. You feel lighter, and as if you're lighter, you float up more. You're closer to God and less attached to the 3D. And the ego loves the 3D. Oh, boom! That was at the top. What did I say? It's about freedom from that heavy burden when you surrender. It's not about your ego's like, I don't have to surrender, I can take care of this myself, whatever. No, it's freedom, it's liberation when you do that. It's not like, oh, there's something higher than me, I'm good, I'm a god myself. You are. And there's other gods to help you. Angels, gods, a team of benevolent spirits, ascended masters, the most high source creator. That's the one I love to go to the most, because but there's teams and teams of beautiful benevolent spirits, fairies, just waiting to help you. Okay, free yourself by surrendering what you can't figure out to the ones who are living in those realms. Okay, we're back and forth. Okay, we're oscillating between the 3D and the higher realms. We come back into 3D. You wake up, it's like, oh, here we go again. I gotta make breakfast. I gotta take a bath. Just the self-care alone is tiring. You need to go take a nap after you do all this brushing your teeth, right? Eating, chopping up the food, washing the you're like, I'm exhausted just taking care of my physical vessel. Right? So, okay, we're just gonna earth force. And that's the reason why I like to tap into, look at what's also showing, liberation. Okay, so I just said that, liberation. There's, okay, the gold, the eagle, the white light. Okay, here's your star family all around you. Call on them. I call on them all the time whenever I look at the moon, the stars. I don't care if they're real or not. I know that the star family is, so this just gives me a focal point to focus that energy on. So freedom, liberation from the samsara. Okay, you have to surrender the ego. You can call it ego death. You have to surrender that in order to liberate yourself, free yourself. The earth force. Okay, so this is what I was saying, like God, source, creator. So tap into Gaia, the earth. Okay, praying, meditating. So you're tapping into the higher frequency of getting downloads and information, dreams and all that, signs, whatever you need to figure out things, through a logical process, an emotional process. Earth force is more like your physical. I'm feeling more like this is your physical process. So being grounded, just looking at it, sitting on a bench looking at a beautiful sunset. You don't have to do anything special. You could just sit there and just observe. And don't observe how many planes are flying overhead, you know. Takes 20 minutes to go to the bathroom or whatever, and half dozen planes fly. No, we're not talking about observing that. Yeah, I observed that the other day, but we want to observe the beautiful things, okay? So once in a while, it's a perfectly blue, clear day, and then the stars are out at night too. See more stars. You know, we have to really take in those energies and have those interactions with those higher frequencies really transit us through, take us through the lower, the heavier stuff. Like when we have a Scorpio moon or something. Okay, so because you're digging deep, Scorpio. So, but this is going to be a Sag full moon. So, you know, one website I was looking at researching some moon information, they said it'd be a good day to be outside all day. So plan, you know, that would be a perfect day to plan. And it's good because you'll be with your own little tribe or by yourself or one other person that you really vibe with, so you're not going to have conflict and people contradicting each other. You know, keep it small, keep it, you know, soul family, soul tribe. Maybe just you and your dog, or you and your kids, or just you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, or okay, or you know, whoever you're really close to. You and your favorite cousin, whatever. Just, you know, you could plan a picnic where you're just out in nature for the majority of the day. Trip to the ocean, just like, not even out of town, just out in nature. Don't get sunburned though, but you know, keep cool, stay hydrated, but you know, just sitting by the river, anything, it doesn't have to be, you know, going on a big old hike and you know, I was going to say exalting yourself, extorting, exalting, exhausting, that's the X word I was looking for. So, but tapping into Gaia or God's source, you know, mother or father, okay, these are endless supplies of energy. So that's why we say a lot, you know, meditate, okay, you're tapping into the masculine energy, or really get grounded, okay. So that's your body, that's your flesh, okay? This is like the skin of Mother Earth, okay? And all these things grow out of her, and she has all these little critters on her. You know, imagine like a dog, okay? All these things growing out, hairs, okay? Mountains, trees, and then all these critters like us and the deer and everything, all right? So this is living, breathing thing, Mother, that we live on, okay? And in order to interact in the most divine way with Mother, we tap into Father, we get information. You know, because we still have a logical mind that works in a certain way. And so here's ecstasy, and right behind it was integrity. Integrity is like integration, okay? Those scales, I was just talking about that in the little chit-chat rap video before this one. So that's what ecstasy and serenity come from, is this balance. Staying grounded, surrendering what we can't deal with or we don't know how to deal with, surrender that to God, and you know, liberate and free yourself from that. So yeah, and friendship's the next one. So be with some friends during the full moon. People who give you hope, people that you trust, people who aren't going to test your willpower. Yeah, they're going to be more compassionate. It's going to be cleansing and healing. It's going to be recharging, is what I got too. So, yeah. An abundance of good energy for this full moon if you want to tap into that. So, can you see the cards? Okay, that's a better shot, I guess. All right, just so you can see them a little bit. All right. Up there. Okay. All right, we like the cross anyway, so. All right. I just gotta stop and thank you, Jesus. I just wanna stop and thank you, Jesus. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Oh, yes, it is, baby. It really is. It feels really good. So, here, well, that wanted to slip out. That's spellbound. Okay, so let's see. I wanted to shuffle these like this. So, Archangel Raphael, Jophiel, Uriel, Zafkiel, Shamael. Thank you for gracing us with your divine messages. We appreciate your dedication to loving us and guiding us. You're so generous. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We exalt you. Okay, those were two stuck together, so let's see. Okay, what message or messages do the ancients have? Our ancient ancestors, what would they like to bring forth as far as a clear message for the twin flames, for this strawberry, full strawberry, strong moon in Sagittarius? What ancestral message do we have for the twin flames for this full moon coming up in Sag? Message for our twin flames out here from our ancient ancestors, the ancient ones who hold all the wisdom, the keys, the stories. Are you going to pop one for me? Or should I pick one? Okay, I think I'm going to pick one unless you got one. All right. What does it say? I can't read. Can you guys read that? I know you can. Okay, if that's not perfect for twin flame reading, but mirror of the self. So being in tune with ourself, self-reflection is very important right now. Knowing what we have to surrender. Okay, knowing when we need to ground. You know, getting out out in nature. Mirror of the self. So going inside and really knowing, being really in tune, like we're a radio station. If we're out of tune, you know, and the treble, the whatever, you know, like just like an equalizer for a stereo. If it doesn't sound right, you're not going to feel right. You're not going to want to do certain things. So, you know, like I always say, it starts with the thought. So this is some real deep internal reflection. And when you think about your twin, think about what aspect of yourself that you have to heal there. You don't have to think about just the negative things. You can think, you know, I did really well in this one whatever. I want to keep repeating that. And I also want to add in this because there was this aspect of it that didn't really work out that I see in hindsight. Or with certain people, you know. You don't have to disengage who you are in order to engage with others. Thank you, angels, because that's exactly what I've been needing to hear. And I almost want to cry right now because that's like, it can be really hard when, you know, being a twin flame, going through ascension, dealing with waking up to the harsh reality of a lot of things. It can be really hard. And it's like you feel disengaged a bit, but we still have to engage. So how do you be disengaged and engaged at the same time? Oh, right? This is the message from the ancestors, mirror of the self. This is from all the ancients, no matter what tribe. 144,000. This is your bloodline talking to you right now. It's like that third eye perception, very clear. Very, very clear. Except for the glare, it's very clear. But see how it's kind of this blue and this violet color around the edge, very dark indigo blue. It's kind of not showing up too well because of the glare, the reflection, but it's a very dark blue. So that third eye, okay, very important. Surrendering to the self too, because God, that information from God's already inside yourself. Sometimes you have to surrender to the fact that you already have it within you. And this was totally sticking out. That's weird. When I pulled that one out, I guess. Okay. This says you're connected. So that's a message for me, spiritually, and all of you. And we're all connected as twin flames. And we're connected with God, Gaia. You're connected. Sorry, I'm trying to do it without flare. Without glare. No, not without flare. We love the flare. We're Sag rising. So see how that is like core. We're connected at the core. We radiate all from the same core. God, source creator. Okay. We co-created. Okay. We're like the founder race, the twin flames, 144,000. From us, you know, this core, we founded all the tribes that make up every, you know, well, I may not say everyone today, but because I believe there are some walking around who don't even have a soul. It's just a flesh vessel, and it could have shapeshifters and all that stuff. We know, but you know, this isn't. You know, the Native Americans, they know all about that. The Star Family. Look up the Anasazi. When I took, I'm not telling you go look them up, but if you want to know about the ancient Native Americans, you know, they're called the Star People, and the Four Corners the region of the United States is a very magical place. The Anasazi, I just lost my train of thought. The class that I took was a anthropology class. It fulfilled a certain requirement for anthropology, but it was Native American art that we studied, so I loved it. It was such a rich. That was probably my most favorite class besides metaphysics. But it wasn't an easy class. We had to learn not even all the tribes, it was just the ones we had to learn. It was a lot. We had to learn all the names, where they were from, know how to identify their blankets, their pottery, the style of the pottery, and basketry, and just all kinds of stuff. So the Anasazi, they're the ancient Native Americans. also the Mimbre and the Hohokam. And if you want to look up those three, especially the Anasazi, it's very fascinating. So I'm getting star family coming in right here. Tribal, star family, the Khazars, the Khazars, the Quasars. We're from the stars. That's what a star is. The energy vortex. That's the very beginning of a star, accruing, or it's called accretion, not like secretion where it goes out, but accretion, where you're accruing things in order to manifest into material reality. And that's exactly what a Khazar, okay, and the Qatar are a native tribe, what you would call like an Eskimo tribe, like the Inuit, Aleut. Okay, so they're Inuit, Aleut, Naskapi. I think there's other ones. Tlingit, Klickitat. They're all the cool, right? The cool names, but there's one called the Qatar, Qatar, which is like Khazar, okay? Which is like the Jews, okay? And then we have the Native. It's all one, okay? All the tribes are all the Native American people too. They're all part of these tribes, these ancient tribes. Okay? They settled in Africa, in Japan, Hawaii, islands, okay? Lots of islands. This is all after, like Atlantis and Lemuria really is what we really go all the way back to. So that's why I love Angels of Atlantis so much, because they're so connected. I mean, hello, you're connected. Mirror of the self, the ancients, the ancestors, they're here to tell you this twin flame thing is no bullshit. It's real, okay? And you're connected directly to God. We're the co-creators that founded this planet, okay? Whether it's flat or round or whatever, doesn't matter. What matters is the core, highest, most fundamental truth. Okay? 144,000. We're the bloodlines of the gods, the Elohim, okay? Jophiel, Elohim, Raphael, Elohim, Shamael, Elohim. This is our family. These are our ancient ancestors. So we have spiritual and physical balance. Childlike joy, that's the top, that's the bottom. So that's very important, that balance, in order to stay lighthearted and be free like a child and be liberated. So let's do the fairies. And I think I'm going to leave tarot out of it, just because, whatever. I don't know. So let's see. See what the fairies have for us. So, our little fairy friends, we love you. We always have. We love seeing the fairy rings everywhere we go. Little mushrooms that form in a ring. You can see a little ring of grass. Oh, that reminds me of one I saw here. So the dead grass was shorter, and there was this little one little thin layer of grass in a circle that was green and a little taller than the other stuff. So if it was mowed over, if it was just mowed over that whole thing, and even if there was a green ring of grass, it would have been at the same length as the cut short dead brown grass. Okay, it would look like straw, and then it had this perfectly brand new ring of grass, and just like a single, almost like a single blade, almost just and it raised up higher. And there was no other way. I'm sorry, but I do believe in fairies, because there was no other way that that could have happened. Tell me how that one ring could just sprout up a perfect ring, perfect circle, just one little thin little single layer. How could it just grow like that? Riddle me this. Now remember, there used to be a dead ring of grass at the high school I went to, but when I was a child, before I went to high school there, we'd walk through the parking lot, okay? Because the community pool was there, and my dad used to always tell me that that was a fairy ring. So healing is on the bottom when those two flipped out, and future is on the top. Let's see if you can... Pretty little fairies, yeah. Okay, direct your intentions and actions wisely, and your future will be fed with fulfillment. So having pure intentions will be fruitful. Healing, a healthy body thrives with a constant flow of balanced energy. So really that is Raphael, healing. There you go, he came up. He or she, doesn't matter. There's no gender with the angels. So really getting grounded, tapping into the, even if it's taking a salt bath, whatever you need to do, okay? You can also, if you're just walking and you have your shoes on or whatever, you can touch both hands, hold both hands on a tree or even a bush, even a flat, anything that's rooted and growing out of the ground. Place both hands. You can put your hands together around a piece of the branch or whatever too. If you can take your shoes off, even better. What you can do is put the palms of the bottoms of your feet together and the palms of your hands together, and have the tree, the piece of the tree, the branch or whatever, in between your palms. And if not, if it's a tree and it's really big, it's a tree trunk, you can just place both hands on the tree, okay? Or if you can take your shoes off, ground and just stand there on the dirt, okay, and the roots of the tree, because they're really big and powerful energy. So trees are really good, and they're really rooted way down into the earth, into the ground. So that's why tree hugging, it's no granola crunchy, granola's good for you anyway. Most depends on what kind you get, but making your own's good. That can ground you too. The foods you eat, and then making it yourself from scratch, making something from scratch that's really healthy, okay, that could be very healing and nutritious. That's very grounding, okay. Seeds, fruit, anything that's plant-based, okay, can be very grounding. So, Raphael right there, healing, was at the bottom of the deck. Compassion's the next one. That's very healing too. So the future, okay. So, healing is being emphasized. So what came out was faith and intuition. Okay, well there you go. We need to trust and have faith in our intuition. Know that the ancients are seeing all that's happening, so they're giving us good information, so we need to trust that, have faith in the angels, have faith in God, have faith in our inner reflection, our intuition. Seeing how the colors are kind of subdued, so it's kind of like focusing, letting everything else kind of fade away and just focusing on the inner guidance. And that's what the Divine Feminine's really doing right now. The masculine's probably more in the surrender, okay? I will say the second to awaken twin, okay, is more in surrender. And the one who became aware of the twin flame journey first, they're more going with their inner guidance. They're really trusting, okay? Having faith and trusting. Have faith in the fairies. They could be little shysters, little tricksters, but it's always to... It's just like how God does it, you know, but fairies are a little bit more fun. Okay, you may trip and fall, but you're not going to, like, you know, be like Job in the Bible or something. But they're one of the guides and the forces that guide us, the elementals of the earth, okay? So earth forces here, so it's, you know, the ancients who have walked this earth, the fairies who've been here since the first human was ever here, you know, these are the elementals. And we can tap into all these different energies that the fairies have. That's all they're manifesting from those. So they're called the elementals because it's like the magician, and they're magical. They know what's available to them through Gaia, okay? Through source. Their source. Spiritual faith is a devoted assurance of the heart. Yes, spiritual faith. Just belief in your spirit. When you do that inner reflection and listen to your intuition, okay? Your intuition is ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge. So sometimes you have to let the world fade away in order to come back to it in a brand new way. A healthy body thrives with a constant flow of balanced energy, and that's what it's all about. That's how we heal, is by being balanced, because all disease, everything comes, you know, from imbalance. And it's in the environment, it's internally, it's happening everywhere, this imbalance. That's why so many people are sick, and we die at such a young age. If you believe in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, I mean, people live to be 800. Basically, they lived like how yogis live when they're ready to leave this world. Just like when you're ready to have your first child, or when you're ready to have sex for the first time, or you're ready to, you know, live on your own. When they're ready, they just walk out of their body and they just leave, you know. I mean, they probably make sure everything's prepared. That's why a lot of people, they don't want their children practicing yoga, because they don't want their 12-year-old, like, you know, becoming enlightened and leaving their body, because the point of enlightenment is usually when you leave and shed your vessel. There is no death. You can live to however old you want to be, and then when you're ready to go, you just go. And back then, the environment was so full of just rich oxygen. There was no industry. Even what they did burn for their fires or whatever, it was so minimal. Now there's, like, you know, a lot of people. Not that Mother Earth can definitely sustain, but not the way we're doing it. Could easily sustain every person that's on the planet right now. But because we're so imbalanced, we're creating an imbalance around us because of the imbalance inside of us. And that can only happen for so long before Mother Earth can't sustain that anymore. And Mother Earth's very powerful force, earth force. So, you know, she's a living creature. What she needs to do to balance and heal and stay in tune, she will do as well as part of her healing. And she has faith in her intuition that it'll get done the way it needs to get done. So, you know what Mother Earth does when she needs to balance. A lot of people can be caught in the crossfire, so to say, okay? So, yeah, future wanted to sneak out there again. So, the future, we need to think about the future as far as Earth is concerned. Because I was just talking about that, and I looked over here, and that was sticking out like that. So, the future of Mother Earth, because she needs healing. You know, as above, so below, as within, so without. It's going on internally. It's going on outside of us on the earth. Have faith in this liberation process. liberating ourselves from imbalance. We really have to go deep within. Look at the self. Let our intuition, our inner knowing, our inner compass guide us. And the masculine really needs to surrender to source right now and find some serenity. Maybe really get grounded to have some of that healing, balancing come in for you. Feminine twin or more awakened twin, the one who awakened to the journey first, the twin flame label, blah, blah, blah. We're really just maintaining that faith, letting our intuition guide us, our inner compass. So, but this full moon energy, yeah, it's going to be a good time to get in touch with Mother Nature, with the earth, the animals, water, whatever it is, whatever you can do to ground yourself, to bring in more balance. So, all right, I wish you all health and healing and some joyous, free, this freedom and liberation that goes great with the Sagittarius, and they're teachers and healers. So the, intuition, healing, faith, liberation, freedom. The Sagittarius energy is all over here. So there's really great high vibrational energies of the Sag that you can tune into. I'm Sag rising, so I know I like to tune into my Sag energy a lot. It gets me through a lot of stuff. So let your highest frequency guide you during this full moon time. So tap into that element of your chart that you find to be the highest vibrational. Okay, it could be your sun sign. You could be a Sagittarius. You could be a Libra. Is a good, nice balance. So you may not be a Libra, but you may have Libra in your Neptune or something. So pull in whatever energies you can to get through this this transition into the full moon, because we're going into Scorpio next. So don't get muddled in the next couple days, and then the new or the full moon's going to be a nice release. It's going to be really liberating and freeing. I really feel that. So keep your faith through it. Let your intuition guide you, right? That is faith. Serenity and healing is on the horizon because of the future here. Okay? Not just for ourselves, but for the planet as well, for the whole collective. And especially the twin flames, because we got to do this, right? We're the one foe. All right, you guys. I love you. Peace and blessings. And I hope you enjoyed that reading. And good graces for the full moon.